One building has been under construction for 144 years. This stone giant stands 172.5 meters tall and weighs over 200,000 tons. For a century, work continued without a legal permit. After a fire turned the plans to ash, the world thought it was impossible to finish. Why could nobody fix this tower until now? The story of this stone giant begins on the 19th of March in 1882. A bookseller named Jose Maria Bocabella wanted a church to honor the Holy Family. He first hired an architect named Francisco de Paula del Villar. Villar wanted a standard design with heavy stone supports called buttresses, but he left after 1 year because of arguments over the cost of materials. That is when a young Antoni Gaudi took over in 1883. Gaudi was different. He said straight lines do not exist in nature, so he designed the building with complex curves and many tall pillars. He spent 43 years on the project and even lived in his workshop on the site. But in 1926, he was hit by a tram and died. He left the church only 15 to 25% finished. Tragedy struck again in 1936 during a war. Angry groups set fire to Gaudi's workshop and smashed his beautiful plaster models into thousands of tiny pieces. For many decades, workers spent years trying to put the pieces back together. Everything changed in 2001 when the team started using three-dimensional scanning and printing. They used special software called Materialize Magics and another program called Rhino to find secrets hidden in the broken plaster. This allowed them to see Gaudi's vision for the first time in nearly 100 years. But a digital map was not enough. They faced a massive technical problem. The foundations built in 1877 were never meant to hold a tower this tall. The church uses over 50 different types of stone, making the central towers incredibly heavy. If they used old building methods, the weight would be too much for the old foundations to handle. How did they find a way to make stone reach the clouds without the whole building sinking into the dirt? In 2014, a group of expert engineers from a company called Arup was asked to solve this mystery. They realized that building with solid stone blocks was too slow and too heavy. They invented a brand new way to build called pre-stressed stone panels. This is a revolutionary technique that changes how we think about stone. In the past, stone was only used to hold weight by sitting on top of other stones. These engineers decided to use stone more like high-strength metal. They started making giant panels in a factory far away from the church. Each panel is made from many smaller pieces of stone that are cut perfectly by computer-controlled saws. These machines use diamond-tipped blades to cut the stone with a precision of within 1 millimeter. This level of accuracy is essential because the pieces have to fit together perfectly. Once the stones are cut, the workers drill holes through the center of them. Then, they slide long rods made of duplex stainless steel through the holes. This metal is very strong and does not rust. The workers pull these rods very tight, using hydraulic jacks. This tension pulls the stones together with incredible force. This force puts the stone in a state called compression. This makes the stone act like one single, very strong piece of material. This method allowed the walls to be much thinner than ever before. The old walls were 1,200 millimeters thick. These new panels are only 300 millimeters thick. This change cut the weight of the towers by half. It was the only way to make sure the old foundations could support the height. But how do you get these massive panels onto a building that is already surrounded by millions of tourists? The process of putting the building together is now like playing with giant Lego blocks. Each panel can be 4 meters high and 3 meters wide. They weigh about 5 tons each for the smaller towers. For the tallest tower, some panels weigh up to 25 tons. A massive crane lifts a panel and puts it exactly where it needs to go. It only takes 30 minutes to lift one panel and bolt it into place. Because the panels are made so perfectly in the factory, they fit together with no extra work on the site. This is how they were able to finish the 6 central towers so fast, after waiting for over 100 years. The builders also used three-dimensional printing to make molds for the ceramic tiles on the outside of the towers. These tiles are made of clay and covered in a shiny glaze. They protect the stone from the rain and make the towers shine. The builders even use sensors on the building pieces to monitor the construction process automatically. This level of technology is something Gaudi could only dream of. But what is it like inside these stone giants? The tallest tower is dedicated to Jesus Christ, and it stands 172.5 meters tall. It is the center of a group of 6 towers. It is surrounded by 4 towers for the evangelists and 1 for the Virgin Mary. The Jesus Tower has 12 levels of these stone panels. The construction started at 85 meters off the ground in 2018. Inside the tower, there is a hollow center that contains a spiral staircase and a glass lift. It takes people from 85 meters up to 138 meters. The engineers wanted the lift to be transparent so visitors could feel the height. They used a very svelte structure made of stainless steel and glass. The glass is made of 3 curved layers. This makes it strong enough to handle the movement of the lift. They even hid the door locks and metal pieces inside the middle layer of the glass. The stone staircase winds around the lift and gets wider as it goes up. On the 20th of February in 2026, the builders reached their biggest milestone yet, placed the very top of the Tower of Jesus Christ. This is a massive 4-armed cross that stands 17 meters tall and 13.5 meters wide. The cross itself weighs 100 tons. It was built in Germany by a company called Gartner and brought to Barcelona in 7 large pieces. The cross is made of stainless steel and concrete. It is covered in white ceramic tiles and glass. These materials were chosen because they reflect the light from the sun during the day. At night, the cross glows because of lights placed on the surrounding towers. But even though the towers are finally done, there is still one part of the building that is causing a massive fight. Can you guess why some people in Barcelona are not happy about the church being finished? A project this big has a lot of complicated rules and high costs. For 137 years, the Sagrada Familia was actually an illegal building. The builders never had a proper permit from the city. In 2019, the church finally agreed to pay 4.6 million euros for the permit. They also have to pay 36 million euros over 10 years to help improve the city streets and subways. Every year, they spend about 25 million euros on construction. All of that money comes from the millions of people who buy tickets to visit. The newest problem is the glory facade. This is the main entrance Gaudi planned. To build the giant staircase he wanted, the city would have to tear down buildings where 3,000 people live. This would destroy about 150 homes and businesses. These residents are very upset and have started a legal battle in court. They argue that the staircase was not in Gaudi's original plans. Because of this fight, the whole project might not be totally finished until the year 2034. Even though the exterior towers will be complete by June 10th of 2026, there is still a long way to go. This date is important because it is the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. If you like learning about how this giant tower was finally finished, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to Building Impossible and leave a comment about your favorite part of the design.